Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to The Division 2, and today I want to look beyond the game. So, as many of you likely know, or maybe you are one of these people yourself, the recent release of the Division 2's Battle for Brooklyn DLC has brought in many new players to the game, and to accommodate that, there are a ton of new player guides online, here on YouTube, elsewhere, helping people acclimate to the game systems, just get their footing under them. I do have one of those videos myself here on the channel, in case you're interested in that, I'll link it. However, the thing is, with large-scale online MMO-type games like The Division, oftentimes in-game guides and resources aren't always enough if you want to fully engross yourself in the experience. And so, that is why I wanted to make this video. If you are someone who is trying to gain a deeper understanding or become more integrated with the Division game and its community, and if you want tools to be able to improve your game knowledge, to have the better capability to troubleshoot bugs, anticipate when the game is going to have downtimes and updates, overall, if you want to be less reliant on YouTubers like me, then that is exactly what this video is for. We're going to be taking a look at a handful of online resources that players like myself and many others out there use to improve, again, their overall Division 2 experience. So I'll shout this out again as we go through it, but links to every one of these resources that we're going to be taking a look at can be found down in the video description and in the pinned comment. But yeah, we're gonna get right to it. If you still want Division content after watching this, like future updates, news breakdowns, all of it, then I hope you will consider clicking that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. Additionally, as we dive in, huge shout out and thank you to our channel members. Your ongoing support is what keeps me moving forward, so thank you. But without further ado, let's dive into this rundown. Alright, so we begin with what I probably consider to be the most important resource that any Division 2 agent should have access to. Reason being, this one will actually link you to a lot of the other important places as well, and so it's kind of a centralized hub for great information, access, all of that. What we're talking about here is the official Division Linktree, as you can see right here. So Linktree is a website where people can go on, make one that then shares links to a lot of other handy resources, and so Ubisoft, Massive, and The Division have their own official one right here. At the top, it provides you direct links to their main pages. This is the social media page where they put out posts for various things, including the snow post that we just talked about earlier this week. They've got a link to their Twitch channel where they do the developer live streams, as well as the official Division Discord server where there is community support. There is stuff like giveaways and other contests that go on there. Moving on down here, you can see they have a link to latest news. So this is the Brooklyn and Crossroads fan kit in case you want assets for the game. They then have links to the patch notes on the official website for the Crossroads season, as well as Battle for Brooklyn. If I click on one of those, you'll see eventually, it will take us to the Division 2's website. So again, you can get direct access here to all of the changes that they're making every major update. If we go back here and continue scrolling down, they then got the trailer for Battle for Brooklyn, the developer deep dive that they released, and then down here at the bottom, they have a direct link to the known issues board, which we're going to take a look at next, as well as how to get in-game support from Ubisoft. Again, this is another section that we're going to get to later, but that is why I say that the link tree is probably the most important thing that you can have bookmarked if you're only going to choose one of these things on the list, because it is a very handy tool which provides you access to all of the major things that you would need as a Division 2 agent. So highly recommend you check it out. Next up, we have to talk about the Trello known issues board for the game. This is a site and resource that you've probably heard myself, other creators, people in the community talk about quite frequently. I'm gonna guess a lot of you already know about this, but if you don't, it is a very pivotal thing for you to have in your bookmarks, have quick access to, because what this board does is it allows you to see what the developers have listed as the top level items and bugs that they are aware of and working on, and it gives you progress updates and status reports for when they're assuming or, estimating that these things are going to be fixed. For example, I can't tell you all the number of comments I've gotten in the recent weeks since Year 7 Season 1 and Battle for Brooklyn released about people saying, oh my gosh, my stash is gone. All of my items have been deleted and have disappeared. I'm done playing this game. And so, what I will then do is link them to the Trello board here where the devs have put up a card saying, this is the bug, the stash shows that it's empty. They list one of the potential workarounds, which is fast traveling to DC or a different map. And they also list the estimated fix time where you can see the fixes planned for Year 7 Season 1.2. Now, we don't have an exact date on when updates like these will come around, but at least you have an idea. We're already in the 0.1 patch, so 0.2, it's coming in the next soonest update to the game. And this goes for not just this issue, but a variety of ones as well, right? This is under the In Progress tab. They're actively working on a fix. Meanwhile, they're investigating these things. These ones have been reported. You can move over and see what's already in the game, the backlog, stuff that they've unfortunately said that they're not going to fix. But yeah, point is the Trello board is an essential component and tool for Division players to use to know what is going on in the game, so that if they're running into an issue, they can check, has it already been reported and listed? Additionally, they have a very similar kind of board over here to what the Linktree had in terms of linking to each patch note thing that they've done in the past. So if you ever want to go back and see a previous change that has been made to the game, you can do the research, go back in the patch notes, see what's there. And then again, if you got quick links to recent patch notes, stuff to how to report bugs and issues, they've got the complete breakdown here. It's an incredibly useful tool. The only thing I'll point out is that this Trello board is not an exhaustive list, right? Meaning not every single bug that devs are aware of makes it onto this board. It would probably be a million miles long if that were the case, but usually the headline issues that the most amount of people are running into makes its way onto the board here, and it's a very useful tool to be able to have some kind of agency and knowledge over what is going on in the game. All right, next up, we are going to be taking a look at something here, which is called the Division 2 Gear Spreadsheet. What it is, as credited by the people here who keep this thing updated and running, is that it is basically a database for all of the various things and items that are in the Division 2, and it's a direct link to many popular community builds if you don't want to go through stuff like YouTube build guide videos, whatever. So if we navigate to some of the categories down here, we'll go to weapons, for example. You can see first it goes by weapon type. We're under assault rifles. You can see each variant of every single gun that is in the game, including named items, and it then lists out all of their stats, what the RPM is, the base magazine size, DPS, sustained DPS, mod slots, headshot damage. Every single stat that you would want to know about anything in the Division 2 is kept up to date right here. That we go to LMGs, SMGs, shotguns, every single item is on this list. One that I like to use quite often is if we go to gear, named and exotics, you can see all of the talents here for the various things that are in the game, right? Like recently I wanted to know I was trying to remind myself what the combustor did for perfect explosive delivery. I was able to go on here and read the exact talent description word for word. I'm pretty sure if we move down as well, they've got all the exotics listed out. Yep. So if you want to go and look at every single exotic in the game, they have all of these listed out. They're working on adding the Catalyst and the Tinkerer from this season. So this is not quite to the level of like having a dedicated API app where you can go in and like make your own builds and manage your stuff while you're not playing the game. But this is a fantastic resource just as a database and knowledge spot. If you want to go and brush up on everything that is available in the game, you just want to try and refresh yourself on what is actually out there for you to go and collect. It's a fantastic resource. And one more time, as I was mentioning, there is also a build hub. They have red, yellow, blue hybrids. They've got the entire breakdown. You can see the patch for which it's been updated. So all of these are for year 6, season 3, or a lot are, which was the update right before the one we're in right now. So most likely it's still up to date. You're going to have relevant information here. And so yeah, once again, I highly recommend that you check out, even if it's not this exact one. Again, there are more out there, something akin to this Division 2 spreadsheet. Next up, I want to take a look at the Division 2's weekly vendor reset. Now, this personally is a tool that I've been using all the way back to the Division 1. And what this website does is it compiles and regularly updates what the vendor stock is at all times in the Division 2. So I know many people are super fond of their, YouTube vendor reset guide videos, whatever. If that's how you prefer to consume that information, that's totally cool. You should continue doing it. I myself, however, and people have always said you should do vendor reset videos, it just doesn't really appeal to me. I would rather just pull up a page like this and see what all is on sale and where it is and everything, and not do the work myself. So if we go to the top here, you can see it checks when it was last updated. So this one is not yet updated for the current week in which I'm making this video, but it's there. And then yeah, this is broken down by the 3 major categories. So for gear, you can see everything right here. It tells you the item's name, what brand set it is, if that's applicable, where it is being sold. This one is at the bridge in Brooklyn. And then it breaks down what the item has. This Wyvern backpack has a skill tier, repair skills, status effects. It comes with the safeguard talent. The color denotes what type of item it is. This is a high end. This is a gear set. This is a named item if it has that more orange hue. And then you can skip on down to whatever category you want. If we want to look at weapons instead of gear, we can click that and it's going to zoom on down to the weapons. Same deal, high end weapons, named items are right here. You've got the full breakdown on what damage it's offering, what talent, what stats. And then once again, if you want to look at mods, we'll click that. It zooms on down once again, the blue, Yellow and red, again, denote what category it is, if it's defensive, offensive, utility, or I guess this lighter yellow is a utility mod, whereas this is a skill mod. But yeah, you get the idea. Every single item that is for sale in the Division 2 can be found right here. So if you're ever like myself and you're wondering, instead of farming or crafting, let's say a yawl piece with crit damage and hazard protection, let me just check if they're selling one. Before I go out and do all of that, I'll come to this website, I'll scroll through, and I'll get my answer. So once again, cannot recommend highly enough that you check out the Division 2 weekly vendor reset. Alright, now the final resource that I want to talk about has to do with in-game support. Because even with all of the other resources that we just looked at, there's going to be a point in time in which you run into some kind of issue with the Division 2, where you're like, I don't know what to do, I'm running into this bug, I either want to get it reported or I want to get someone's help with it. And while you can leave a comment on one of my videos, and I will try my best to get back to you whenever I can, which is not always the fastest, what if I told you that there was a better way to get direct support with whatever issue you're having? Enter in Ubisoft Support. Now, at hearing that name, some of you might recoil a little bit because Ubisoft Support, at least on their online portal, if you go to their website and you start a case, many times you will unfortunately get stuff like an automatic answer and not really great personalized support and assistance. However, may I recommend the Ubisoft Discord server. Now, this will require you to install and use the Discord application. A lot of you I know already do that, so that shouldn't be a huge deal. Some of you don't, and in that case, unfortunately, that is going to be a barrier. But let me show you what's on offer here. So when you join the Discord server, you have to go and accept the rules. You'll then select different roles for yourself in this server. And all you want to do is make sure that you select the division as like a game that you play or are interested in. And what this will then do, if we go down a little bit, that is the only game that I've selected. So if you select more, you will see more, channels on the side here. But they have one that shows you the Twitter feed from the division, which again is a great way to stay up to date with that if you don't use social media where they're posting. You then also get maintenance alerts. So they're going to tell you, I think down here, when servers go down, when they're back up. You've got a general chat for division stuff here if you want to talk with other players. But the main thing I want to point out here is this little category called player support. Now, they've got one for the Division 1 and the Division 2. Let's look at the Division 2 first, since that is the main deal here. And what you'll see is that players are posting all of these various issues that they're running into. And the great part, unlike the online Ubisoft support portal, is that you can look at what other people are saying. There are also tags on these posts, like right here you can see this one has been Ubi acknowledged. So if we click on this, for example, you will see on the side this person submitted their whole deal of what's going on. And then if we scroll down, you can read what Ubisoft's reply was. So somebody else had already gone in and replied to this person's first thread, and then UbiSafe here replied and said, thanks so much for taking the time to ask the question, and they gave them at least some kind of a personalized response. Again, unlike what you will often see on the online portal, which is that you just get automated replies until you persist enough, and eventually maybe you'll get a real person. This seems to be a lot more responsive and effective. Now, I cannot promise you that they will always be able to get you the best information or answer that you want, but again, if you're looking for some kind of support for the Division 2, it seems to me as though this is the best way to go. If we click on another one of these that says, Ubi replied, the person submitted their issue, and then Ubi Warrior here replied and said, could you please provide me with the following information so I can better look into it, including the person's CPU, GPU, all of that stuff. And let's see, did they further follow up? If I scroll down, looks like it, or somebody else jumped in. So you can see my point is that this forum board right here for all these support tickets seems to be a more effective way for you to get some answers, report bugs, all of that stuff for the Division 2 and even the Division 1 as well. Again, there's a support board here for that. Is it going to be maybe as, widely used? Probably not, since the Division 1 is a much older game and is not regularly supported, but it's here if you need it. So the Ubisoft Discord, which again, you can manually select the division for. You'll get access to all of these channels, including the player support forum. Can't recommend that enough for you to be able to report bugs, get some answers, and get some troubleshooting help from the people who make the game. All right, well, there you have it, everybody. That is my rundown of 5 tools that I believe every new, returning, and active Division 2 player should have access to. This is a bit of a different video and subject matter than what I normally tackle, but this is stuff that myself and many other agents use on a frequent basis. And I figured it doesn't really get talked about all that much, so I wanted to pass the information along to you all. I very much hope it helped you out in some way, shape, or form. Once again, if you're trying to access any of the resources that I pointed out in this video, the links to all of those things will be down in the description and pinned comment. I highly recommend bookmarking or saving those pages so that you have easy ways to get back to them. But with that all down, I now turn it over to you all. What are your thoughts on this rundown? Additionally, if you are more of a veteran player and you have alternative resources that you think new players could benefit from knowing about and using. Be sure to share those down below too. Just a heads up, if you try and share links to any sites, YouTube may auto-block those and it gets kind of weird sometimes in the back end. At the very least, if you have recommendations you're trying to share, give the name of the website or resource, whatever it may be, and then I myself can go and vet it, maybe try and share it as well, or at the very least people can then research those things themselves. But yeah, that's about all I have for today, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you back soon, but until then, RogueGold out.